Hi, in this video we will show the last one of our derivations of the Schrödinger equation, in which we will show that the Schrödinger equation has a stochastic support which is given exactly by a Langevin equation. This approach, this method of derivation is particularly interesting because it puts in movement all the derivations that we have made so far. So it's very rich. In what follows, you will see that we have all the elements of the previous derivation. So let's begin. The derivation is a little bit involved, so I think I will take some time to show it to you. Okay, we are now looking for a concrete stochastic approach, a true stochastic approach. Because of course, we may ask, where do the fluctuations appear in mathematical terms? Certainly, it's not in the Schrödinger equation itself. You won't find any element of fluctuations, random movement, any other thing of the sort in the Schrödinger equation, mathematically speaking. So we must ask, in what situation does the fluctuation appear? In what mathematical situation they appear? And what we are asking is the search for an equation that can represent a true stochastic behavior and functions as a stochastic support for the Schrödinger equation. This equation is precisely the Langevin equation for quantum mechanics. So we will just put the Langevin equation. This is a very usual way to write the Langevin equation. In this side here, we have the random term, random force if you want. This is the systematic force, the usual Newtonian force, and this is a term that is responsible for dissipation. Of course, these two terms here, this one and this one, are exactly the terms responsible for the fluctuation dissipation theorem, which we have already encountered when we was talking about the stochastic derivation. So these two equations here are the equations that we are to prove that furnish the stochastic support for quantum mechanics, given fluctuation is random and the fact that it represents a white noise. Okay, so we want, of course, to find the expression for this term. It's the only term that we don't know in these equations. So we want to show that this term is connected to some term that we have already found in our previous derivation. So let us see. The first thing that we do in the process of trying to find this term is to first discretize the time. So we pass from a continuous time to a discrete time given by n. Of course, this relation is very important, and we see that if we make n goes to infinity, we will have a time tau that goes to 0. Then, if we do that, I won't do the details, but we can show that this equation goes into this one with a given by this expression and the fluctuation term given by this expression here. And now we have an expression for the average and the square of the fluctuation, but in terms of a discrete index here. And here, of course, is the Kronecker delta function. So we may now iterate this equation to find our results. We will show that we are working in a fiber on phase space, that is, we are keeping Q fixed, and this is what we have already done in the central limit theorem. And now we will see what this represents. So We repeat here the equation, discretized equation for P, and fix the Q, the point in configuration space. And this is what this means. We are fixing our region on the configuration space, which has the size of delta Q, and we are sampling this phase space, this fiber on the phase space, by collecting the points that are the end of some realization of the trajectory, if we are in the ensemble picture, or some equivalent situation if we are using the single system approach. Of course, when we do this iteration, the first term gives this one. I won't go into the details, mathematical details. The second term is this second equation, and we can generalize these terms to show that this is the general term for some value of n. So if we assume that p0, the initial momentum, is 0, just for simplicity, we end up with this term, and we can now assume that the term within brackets is a random variable which we will call WL. So we can write our Pn note as a sum of random variables. Of course, this is easily connected to the central limit theorem. Our random variable, which for t going to 0 is infinitesimal, is given just by this result here, which is the one that is inside the brackets here. Now we can introduce a characteristic function for these infinitesimal elements, which is just given by that. Of course, when we write this as an average, we are assuming that we have that the integral that defines the characteristic function, which is just the exponential times the probability density function upon phase space. So this symbol is exactly the usual one which we used to make the characteristic function derivation. Okay, now that we have done that, let us see the consequences. We may make over the infinitesimal variables averages. When we make an average over this term doesn't change, so the average is just itself. But this term has this average which goes to 0, which is one of the constraints of the Langevin equation. So we end up with this average. We can now pass to the second order term. The second order term is a little bit more involved, but again we have here a linear term which gives 0 when we make our averages. This term is again constant with respect to the average, and we now have this term which is a squared term, and will give exactly 1 because of the constraints of the Langevin equation. So we end up with this result for the average of the square of our infinitesimal variable. We can then calculate the variance of the infinitesimal variable and then proceed to our demonstration. We can show, I won't do that here, you can find this in the article that is in the descriptions of this video. We end up with this result here, which is given in terms of the infinitesimal variable. We can, and this term of course is given in terms of this delta Q squared, and this linear term in delta Q. This is exactly what used in the entropy derivation and also in the characteristic function derivation and any other derivation that we may use here. We may now pass from the infinitesimal characteristic function to the finite characteristic function by making the summation using the summation variable in this case. In this case, I will have the value of Pn, which is the variable related to the sum of the random variables, and here I will have some function Bn that I will show you how to obtain. In fact, if you make the calculations, you can see that Pn, the average, is given by this sum over A to L, to the exponent L. And B is given by this term here. Of course, I want to make these summations now to see the dependence of our terms with respect to tau, because we know that tau is inside the A. Because of that, A is just this expression. So if we do that, the fact is that if we invert this characteristic function, we get exactly a probability density function within phase space, depending on n, because we are not making n goes to infinity yet. And this is the result that we obtain. Of course, we have here these indices. Okay, so let's try to find these two elements. We have here the elements depending on the index n. We are now interested in making n go into infinity. When we do that, of course, if we make tau goes to 0, of course, we have already seen that, we have already commented that. The same thing as to make n goes to infinity. So we may make these summations up to infinity, and when we do that, we get the following results, these two results here. When this n goes to infinity, this term goes exactly to an exponential, which is this exponential here. So this is, for instance, for the term b. For the term p is the same thing, and we end up with these two expressions now independent of n, because we have made n goes to infinity and we have made n to go to infinity. Then of course it's nice to see that if we make for very small values of t, we can represent this term here, for instance, as just t, and t multiplied by the force is just the impulse, which is gives the momentum, the average momentum in the initial situation. Okay, we can now put these two terms within the probability density function upon phase space, and we get for the asymptotic values just these two results. But these are exactly the results that we have before, and we now just found for this function in terms of our probability density function. And in fact, this represents just the fluctuation multiplied by gamma. And here, of course, the average momentum. Okay, thus we can now write our probability distribution function upon phase space without any dependency in n, which is exactly the result that we have obtained if we substitute here b for its value. Note that we are taking the asymptotic value, so this is the asymptotic, value of the probability distribution function. It does not depend on t anymore because we are assuming that our system is stationary. Okay, this is just the result. As a last property that we can present, we may calculate the value of the third power of the variable to see if we should or should not use the third order terms in our expressions. We have then the result given by this when we make the summation, and when we make the summation and take the limit of n going to infinity, we get just this expression here. And this expression, if we make tau go into 0, gives just 0 because we can cancel out one tau here with one tau here, and when tau goes to 0, this gives just 0. And this is the element here in this demonstration that shows why the central limit theorem applies, in fact how it applies in concrete terms. The fact is that we have then our Langevin equations now without any unknown function given in these terms, and we may now make what we most wanted to do, which is make simulations to show a number of properties that we were talking about in the previous videos. For instance, we can now show by making simulations, that the system is ergodic. We may show how we can define a Newtonian limit for quantum mechanics, and another number of properties that are important for the interpretation of quantum mechanics. So in the next videos we will make simulations to show, rather than just say, the interpretations that we have made so far. Thanks for watching.